Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Algo, and today is Wednesday, April 14th, 2021. What a crazy day it was. I've got several requests from Twitter to do some research, a little bit of Algo charting. They want to see, what the algo is doing, what that large institutional money is doing. So I've got about 10 tickers. I'm going to break it up into a couple different videos. So if you find this content valuable, go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe and hit me up in the comments if there's any tickers you'd like to see or if there's anything you need any assistance with. Like I said, we're just getting our YouTube channel started, so now's the time to make comments. Thanks, and let's get going. All right, everybody, welcome back. So I've been asked to go through a couple stocks, as you all know. I'm going to go ahead and pick 4 to go through, and those are going to be PENN, Snow, and let's see, CCIV, Wells Fargo. Be rounding out the bunch. All right, so this is the 1-minute dark pool algo chart for PENN. As you can see, we've got some pretty significant vertical buying that's just come in. Anytime we see this type of move here, it indicates that we're at a possible good level for a reversal. A couple things that I noticed as well is that we do have a $100 dark pool block trade that came in today. So that's initially going to provide resistance as well as support. PENN's doing one of my favorite patterns on this 1-minute chart, and that's we come down, we find support, we come up, we test some resistance, we come back down, we find support again for the next wave up. That could be a 1-2-3 pattern. That's, a Dow 1-2-3 retracement or reversal. Looks like a W to me. So big shout out to Wu-Tang Clan there. All right, PENN on the daily. One sec, I thought I had all this all set up. Okay, so looking at PENN from a technical standpoint, we've got, all right, from a technical standpoint, we are below the 50 SMA, but above the 200 SMA. We've actually broken through the long-term trend line that would have acted as support, and now we're working off the shorter-term trend line for support. I do, however, like I mentioned earlier, we're starting to form that H pattern or the W pattern where we come down, we test support, we go back up. We are, as far as MACD is concerned, we're negative but rising, which means that I would like to see this consolidate for another day or so before it again turns positive. This market extension tool, I wanted to bring both of these up so that you could see the difference between it and the RSI. It's just a way for me to get in position sooner, get out of position sooner, stay in positions longer. It's a little bit more informative than this, just a standard RSI. This move here, back on the 8th, right? I would have gotten into it since it was coming from oversold, right? Or overbought. It always confuses me. Coming from down to up. We actually broke through the 40 on the way up. That would have allowed me to catch, this entire move here, where RSI, as you can see, didn't even break above the 70 or the 60 level. Just wanted to go through that real quick. I use this tool quite a bit. Other negative factors for me with PENN is that we are bearish stacked with our EMAs. They're stacked, but they're stacked bearishly. So the 34s on top of the 21 on top of the 8, instead of it being the 8 on top of the, let me just grab this here, instead of the 8 on top, what the heck? 8 on top of the 21 on top of the 34 on top of the 50, on top of the 200. You know, find a bottom here. You've got a nice run going on. All right, I've gone ahead and thrown some fibs up, as well as trend line support. So going back to November, the long-term trend line support was broken on the 6th. It was broken actually on the 26th. However, it found support with a double bottom. We found support with a double bottom, came back up, reverted to the mean, which is the 21 or the 34. Were rejected there, came back down and found additional support on today actually. Bounced off this shorter term trend line, and then we've just got this inverted hammer candlestick. Taking this down to the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're kind of moving up and down, trying to break above the 50-day SMA, which we haven't been able to do yet. I mean, we peeked our head above it and came back down. We've got, so on the 4-hour fibs, you know, this is good for a couple of weeks. You know, would anticipate a move from this support at 97 up to 119 would take obviously a couple of weeks. So that's where the medium term fibs come in. There's an ATR of $2 per day. So, you know, $20, $25, so a month out, right? So looking at a month out to hit the 120, 124, unless we get a lot, you know, unless we get some sort of news, that squeeze pops, any sort of additional catalyst. So if we're looking for something maybe over the next couple of weeks, I always bring it down to the 15, throw a fib from the low to the high. That gives me, you know, a very reasonable target for, you know, 1 to 2 weeks out. So 106 is, so first of all, we've got to get our EMAs and SMAs stacked positive. Currently, we're stacked negative. From a technical standpoint, that is a bearish position to be in. However, our MACD is positive and rising. We're coming up out of the value area on the market extension. I believe we just got some news with PENN 2 in Arizona, or I think Arizona's voting on legalized gambling. So as far as risk is concerned, we've got $3 risk to the downside, $6 risk to the upside. One thing that's another area that's going to cause us some issues is this 107.85, simply because it is the 141 Fibonacci extension as well as the previous long-term trend line. We're going to smack into that. So opportunity from 1 to 102, which would be the 618 retracement, or excuse me, 618 extension on the way up to 106, which is 127. Popping back over, now we can see kind of what's going on with the algo. So on the 1 minute, looks as if though found the bottom, had the double bottom reversal. Algo's large institutional monies are net buying. Bringing it up on the 15-minute chart, what we'd like to see is we'd like to see the algo on top of price action, which is exactly what we've got here. So some of the nice things with this algo is we've got tools. Okay, we've got a block trade level at 107 that was printed on April 5th. This is going to be a magnet for price action. Our current dark pool algo is curling up on an incline, right? That would indicate that it's going to act as a magnet, bringing price action up to it, especially to this next block level. So this block, why can't I? This block level. The $100 block that printed today is going to act as a major support level as well. So seeing what the algo looks like on the 15-minute chart, coming back to our 15-minute candlestick chart, that 106.84 at the 1278 extension, 1752. So this area here is going to be my target for probably next week's expiration. Just activate this drawing. So this 1785 fib level, which is also previous trendline resistance or support, is going to be my target level. I'm just going to go ahead and make that pink so I know where I'm trying to get to. I'm not going to necessarily get into options prices or strikes today. All right, next one's up is snow. Snow on the 1 minute dark pool chart. Looks as if though, all right, we've got, looks like it's just been steady selling for the last, steady selling today. Towards the end of the day, however, we came in and we've got the algo curling up, which could indicate that possibly we've met the level that they wanted to sell to, and we would like the morning algo to start heading in this general direction. There aren't any really block trades to speak of on the 1 minute chart. Coming out on the 15-minute chart, sitting back and trying to see if I can find any patterns with this, it kind of looks as if though there may be a little bit of a head and shoulders forming. So the algo has been trading with price, and it's continuing to trade with price. So I've got to try to find maybe some trendline support, higher highs, higher lows. There's no solid indicator that this is going to break one way or the other. A lot of it's just going to depend on maybe grabbing something quickly off of, maybe an intraday. All right. Let's see if I can get all of these on here. I went through this the other day. Clear. All right. Again, same type of situation. However, we do not have the 200 SMA. Snow is too new to have provided that. Excuse me. Decreasing value area on market extension. However, MACD is rising and positive. This would be the most bottom level that it's ever reached, is this 205. So that's going to be our bottom, right? We have to base all of our support off of this area here now. Looks as if though our EMAs are starting to try to squish up or cross over. Fibonacci tells us that we have some trendline support from this last move up. Longer term Fibonacci, again, those with an average, with an ATR of $11 per day. Longer term Fibonacci targets of the 266 would be of interest because there's some confluence there with the intraday. Ultimately, we'd like the snow to get back up to this 360 level, right? Big money move there. Looks as though we got earnings coming up on the 5th, so that gives us maybe 2 weeks for a run into earnings, I'd like to see possibly the 280, which would be the 618 extension. 240, that's given that it's got to get through the 50 SMA. I would feel comfortable looking at the 280s for earnings. Bringing it down onto the 15-minute chart. Shorter time frames, obviously. Let me show you the 4-hour. The 4-hour chart moves about $4 per 4 hours, right? So with that being said, we've come back down. We're testing this trendline support again. However, our EMAs are stacked positive. The 8 on top of 21 on top of 34. We're on top of the 50. We're going into this 50 200 SMA squeeze from simple moving average squeeze. What we'd like to see happen is this 50 to cross this 200 and pop. I believe there's a label for that. It's not the death cross, something. There's a term for that. That would give us momentum we would need to move up to this 248 and eventually 256. Shorter term time frames, so something within the next week or so, possibly end of week if everything goes well, but I don't feel super confident in snow until we can get above this 200 SMA. But if you wanted to get into it, and the Algo gives us a definitive direction, 233, 235. All right. One other thing I wanted to show you on the daily. We've got some Keltner channel levels here that are going to act as support and resistance. This 205, it came down. The support for 205 is based on the weekly cloud, the weekly cloud mid. So the Keltner channel weekly 1.5 ATR, the daily bottom. Our daily point of control is at 233. So again, another support resistance. We've got another Keltner channel for the daily top and the 4-hour top at 243. This range here is going to be a mess. It's going to, it's going to be chop fest from 243 to 230. So a $10 range of chop, followed by a $20 risk for support to gain, a $40 reward. As far as, let's see if I can do this. So we've got 20% to the upside and 13% to the downside. So it's going to be choppy. All right, last one I think I'm going to be able to get to tonight is Wells Fargo. They just had earnings, so I wanted to touch in on this. Wells Fargo on the daily. Looks as if they came down. That's Wolf. Well, Wells Fargo. All right, there we go. Alright, this is a little backwards, but it's fine. Wells Fargo had good earnings. So obviously we had a great pop today. We've got a cup and handle forming. What I like about Wells Fargo is we have everything stacked positive. 8, 21, 34, 50, 200. All of these are stacked positive, which means that as long as the trend continues, we can feel comfortable playing the 8 EMA or the 21 EMA as our support level. Throw up the charting I already did. We've got long-term trend line that's basically the 50 SMA. We have got a longer-term fib level target of 47 and then 54. ATR of $1 a day. It's going to take a little while to get there. Bringing it down to the 4-hour time frame. You can see that we had a positive golden cross MACD. We just popped today because of great earnings. Prior to that, our EMAs were positively stacked. We've got an increasing MACD, positive, no real divergence there. This is why I like this market sentiment indicator. Helps you kind of stay in the position a little longer, where typically, other people are taught to get out as soon as it reaches this oversold area. We've got the last thing that we've got going on here is, let me just bring the 15 up real quick. What a move today. Obviously a greater than expected move, but that thrusted all of the indicators, or all of the moving averages positive. We do have a bullish divergence on the MACD. Here you can see that as the MACD is decreasing, price is increasing, which leads me to believe as soon as this crosses over, we can look for another move upwards. We've also got what's called a bull flag that's formed today. As you can see here, what I'd like to see happen is for us to break out of the previous high, that 42.18, for a move to 42.56. Wells Fargo on the dark pool. Ton of block trades that we just blasted through. We've got the $42 level is going to provide resistance until it becomes support, which lines up with this $42 top of the bull flag that we're kind of stuck in. We're squeezing into it. It'll pop out. Hopefully, since everything's stacked positively, we'll get a run up into that 42.56 and eventually the 43.86 target. This is the target for Wells Fargo, the 43.86. Okay. We've got price action is trading with the Algo. A couple things I do like on the Algo is, very simply, we've got curling here. We've got a little bit of divergence starting to form, but for the most part, it's just trading with price action. Bring it down to a lower time frame. Well, actually, before I do that, I want to show you one other thing that we can do with these block trade levels. So block trade levels will act as support or resistance. There'll be resistance until they're broken through, and then they become support. So we've got a block trade level at 41.12 that's going to provide us with support, but a newer one at 40.78 that was a pretty significant resistance. As you can see here, price action ran up, bumped into it, smacked its head up against the ceiling, came down, found a larger block trade support. Earnings saved it, we blew through it. The flow trade interface allows you to select how many block trades you'd like to see. So this can get really confusing, but if we bring it down to this and just focus on the last 5, we can see how price action respects those block trade levels. Okay, so this $42 block trade is going to be resistance until it becomes support. Jumping down onto the 1 minute time frame, we've got a couple things we got going on here is we've got Algo trading with price action. One thing that I would be maybe looking for something intraday is, since this price action is rising where the Algo is selling, this is called this is creating bearish divergence because the two must eventually meet again and play out. So this is a bearish divergence play. Until this plays out, I'm not looking to get into Wells Fargo long. Typically what will happen is once that plays out, this algo will turn up and cross over again and start pulling price action in the direction we want it to go. All right, so that's it for me. I wanted to once again say thanks for joining me. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for additional content. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me in the comments section below. Everyone have a great day.